Thousands of years ago, one of the world's oldest civilizations carved a story into clay. A story of gods who descended from the skies, shaped humanity, and vanished. But what if they weren't gods? What if they were visitors from the stars? Who were the Anunnaki? Mythical deities, forgotten rulers, or ancient astronauts who altered the course of human history? Join us on a journey through lost texts, forbidden theories, and ancient temples, as we uncover the truth behind one of history's greatest enigmas. The line between myth and reality is thinner than you think. Welcome to Timeless Secrets, where history isn't just told, it's relived. Ancient empires, forgotten kings, and untold stories. Every episode, a new journey through time. This isn't just history, this is history reborn.
Across the deserts of modern-day Iraq, beneath the ruins of ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, lie clay tablets inscribed with stories older than the pyramids. These texts speak of powerful beings known as the Anunnaki, a pantheon of gods who shaped the destinies of humans and the cosmos. But who, or what, were the Anunnaki? Were they simply mythological deities created by ancient minds to explain the unknown? Or could they have been something far more extraordinary? Visitors from another world? The mystery of the Anunnaki has captivated historians, archaeologists, and alternative theorists alike. In Mesopotamian mythology, they were divine rulers who governed the heavens and the earth. Yet in modern times, particularly since the late 20th century, the Anunnaki have been reinterpreted by fringe theorists as ancient astronauts. Extraterrestrial beings who allegedly came to Earth thousands of years ago, bringing technology, knowledge, and even genetic engineering. This central question, were the Anunnaki gods, mythologized rulers, or alien visitors, has fueled decades of debate, speculation, and popular fascination. It also reflects a broader human curiosity. How did early civilizations develop such complex myths? And what truths, if any, might they conceal? In this documentary essay, we embark on a journey through ancient texts and modern interpretations. We will explore the historical roots of the Anunnaki in Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian, and Assyrian lore. We'll examine how their stories shaped early beliefs about creation and divinity. Then we'll delve into modern theories, such as those proposed by Zecharia Sitchin, which argue that the Anunnaki were not gods but beings from a distant planet. Join us as we uncover the layers of myth, history, and mystery surrounding one of humanity's most enigmatic legends, the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki were central figures in the mythology of ancient Mesopotamia, comprising the Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian, and Assyrian civilizations. The term Anunnaki is generally translated as those who from heaven came to earth, or princely offspring. They were believed to be the children of Anu, the sky god and supreme deity in the Sumerian pantheon, and Ki, the earth goddess. In early Sumerian belief systems, the Anunnaki were seen as divine judges, dwelling in the underworld and overseeing the fates of both gods and mortals. Over time, their image evolved. In Akkadian and Babylonian traditions, they were considered powerful deities who played direct roles in the governance of heaven and earth, often appearing as council members or cosmic administrators. The Anunnaki are often confused with another divine group, the Igigi, who were considered younger gods or lesser divine beings. According to one myth, the Igigi once performed hard labor for the Anunnaki before rebelling, which led to the creation of humans to take their place. This myth underscores the Anunnaki's position not only as creators, but as rulers with authority over celestial hierarchies. Among the key Anunnaki deities were Anu, the supreme god of the sky and father of the Anunnaki; Enlil, god of air and storms, a central figure who granted kingship; Enki, Ea, god of water, wisdom, and creation, often portrayed as humanity's protector; Inanna, Ishtar, goddess of love, war, and fertility, one of the most complex deities in the pantheon; Ereshkigal, goddess of the underworld and a major Anunnaki figure in netherworld myths. The Anunnaki are referenced in numerous cuneiform tablets, including the Enuma Elish, the Babylonian creation epic, where they help establish Marduk as the chief deity. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the gods, possibly Anunnaki, decide the fate of Gilgamesh and Enkidu, influencing life, death, and divine justice. These stories were not merely symbolic. they shaped the religious and political structures of early Mesopotamian society. Kings often claimed divine descent from the Anunnaki to legitimize their rule. Temples and ziggurats were dedicated to these gods, serving as both places of worship and celestial gateways. Through their enduring presence in myth, ritual, and kingship ideology, the Anunnaki formed the spiritual backbone of Mesopotamian civilization. Immortalized in clay, stone, and legend, Sumerian cosmogony presents a complex vision of the universe, born from the union of primordial forces. At the beginning of time, there was Anu, the god of the sky, and Ki, the goddess of the earth. Their divine union gave birth to the Anunnaki, a generation of gods tasked with organizing the heavens, shaping the earth, and maintaining cosmic order. These myths portray the Anunnaki not just as passive deities, but as active creators. One of the most compelling aspects of their mythology is the creation of humanity, which was not an act of love or benevolence, but of necessity. According to the Atrahasis epic, the lesser gods, the Igigi, grew weary of their labor on earth, digging canals, managing agriculture, and maintaining the infrastructure of civilization. In protest, they revolted. In response, Enki, the god of wisdom, proposed a solution: to create human beings who would assume the labor once done by the Igigi. A goddess named Nintu, or Mami, mixed clay with the blood of a slain god, giving rise to humans, beings born from both earth and the divine. Thus, humanity was created as a servant race, with the Anunnaki acting as both creators and overseers. This myth bears striking similarities to later religious narratives. The idea of humans being shaped from clay is echoed in the biblical account of Adam in Genesis. The flood myth, where the gods attempt to wipe out humanity due to overpopulation or disobedience, parallels the story of Noah, suggesting a shared cultural lineage between Mesopotamian and Abrahamic traditions. Furthermore, the tale of Enki secretly preserving one righteous man, Atrahasis or Utnapishtim in Gilgamesh, from a divine flood mirrors the biblical narrative of divine judgment and survival. In these stories, the Anunnaki emerge not just as creators, but as complex beings, sometimes benevolent, often capricious, reflecting human struggles with fate, obedience, and mortality. Whether interpreted as metaphors, religious archetypes, or historical records of unknown events, their role in creation myths remains one of the most thought-provoking aspects of ancient Sumerian belief. In 1976, the publication of The 12th Planet by Zecharia Sitchin introduced a radical reinterpretation of the ancient Mesopotamian texts. Sitchin, an Azerbaijani-American author and self-taught scholar of ancient languages, proposed that the Anunnaki were not mythological gods, but extraterrestrial beings from a distant planet called Nibiru, a supposed 12th member of our solar system. According to Sitchin, Nibiru follows a vast elliptical orbit that brings it into proximity with Earth every 3,600 years. He claimed that around 450,000 years ago, intelligent beings from Nibiru, the Anunnaki, arrived on Earth in search of gold, which they required to sustain their planet's atmosphere. Unable or unwilling to mine the precious metal themselves, they established operations in Mesopotamia and Africa, and eventually genetically engineered Homo sapiens by combining their DNA with that of early hominids. Sitchin alleged that this hybridization process produced modern humans, designed to serve the Anunnaki as a labor force. He argued that the biblical story of Adam and Eve, the Nephilim of Genesis 6, and other mythologies reflect a misunderstood history of extraterrestrial manipulation and intervention. He interpreted Mesopotamian epics, such as the Enuma Elish and Atrahasis, as cryptic accounts of advanced technology, space travel, and interplanetary contact. However, mainstream scholars and scientists overwhelmingly reject Sitchin's claims. Professional Assyriologists and archaeologists point out that Sitchin's translations of cuneiform are often inaccurate or entirely fabricated. For instance, the term Anunnaki appears in many Mesopotamian texts, but it is never used in connection with space travel, advanced technology, or a planet called Nibiru. Moreover, no credible evidence exists in Sumerian or Akkadian language that supports the notion of alien genetic engineering or gold mining missions. In addition, modern astronomy has found no trace of a planet Nibiru with the orbital properties Sitchin describes. NASA and independent researchers have repeatedly dismissed claims of a hidden rogue planet influencing Earth's history. Nevertheless, Sitchin's theories have captured the imagination of millions, spawning a new wave of ancient astronaut beliefs. His books have sold extensively and continue to influence popular media despite the lack of scholarly backing. While captivating, Sitchin's work is widely considered pseudo-archaeology, a speculative narrative built on selective readings and non-existent linguistic evidence. Still, the debate he sparked reveals a deep modern curiosity. What if ancient myths contain more than metaphor? And could advanced beings have once walked among us? To understand the true nature of the Anunnaki, it's essential to return to the original sources. The thousands of cuneiform tablets unearthed in sites such as Uruk, Nippur, and Nineveh. These tablets, written in Sumerian and Akkadian, have been carefully studied and translated by generations of professional Assyriologists and linguists. Contrary to the claims made by ancient astronaut theorists, the term Anunnaki does not denote spacefaring aliens, but rather a divine council of gods. In early Sumerian texts, the Anunnaki were often associated with divine order and cosmic balance. Their function was symbolic and religious, not technological or extraterrestrial. They were portrayed as judges in the underworld and members of a cosmic assembly who decided fates. The Sumerian king list, often cited by fringe theorists, contains reigns of mythical rulers lasting thousands of years. However, mainstream scholars interpret these exaggerated durations as mythical constructs meant to convey the grandeur of divine kingship, not literal history or evidence of immortal beings. Temple remains and iconography from Mesopotamian cities such as Eridu and Babylon also undermine alien interpretations. Depictions of gods and divine figures often feature stylized beards, horned crowns, and winged motifs, symbols of divinity and power in Mesopotamian art, not helmets or spacesuits. The so-called handbags of the gods, often cited by theorists as high-tech devices, are now understood by scholars to represent sacred ritual objects, possibly containers for holy water or seeds. Further, the Sumerian cylinder seals, tiny engraved stones used to mark documents, depict gods and humans engaging in religious or royal scenes, but never operating machines or piloting spacecraft. In short, no archaeological or linguistic evidence from Mesopotamian sources supports the idea of the Anunnaki as extraterrestrials. Their stories, while rich in cosmic themes and imaginative mythmaking, reflect a worldview shaped by religious tradition, political hierarchy, and early human attempts to explain the forces of nature, not visits from outer space. Despite scholarly dismissals, the Anunnaki have found a powerful second life in modern popular culture, particularly through the lens of New Age thought, science fiction, and internet conspiracies. Since the late 20th century, the idea of ancient aliens, especially the Anunnaki, has exploded in popularity. Television shows like Ancient Aliens have played a significant role in mainstreaming the ancient astronaut hypothesis. Episodes frequently showcase Mesopotamian art, ziggurats, and mythology, asserting that the gods of old were actually misunderstood visitors from the stars. On platforms like YouTube, Reddit, and TikTok, countless videos and discussions speculate on the Anunnaki's supposed return, genetic experiments, and hidden knowledge. Books by authors such as Erich von Däniken and Zecharia Sitchin have further entrenched these ideas in popular consciousness, despite their lack of academic support. Even Hollywood has borrowed elements of these theories, with films like Prometheus and Stargate exploring themes of alien creators and lost knowledge. Part of the appeal lies in the sense of mystery and empowerment these theories offer. They suggest that humanity has a hidden history, one that has been suppressed or forgotten. For some, the idea of ancient aliens explains how early civilizations achieved architectural marvels and astronomical precision. Psychologically, these beliefs fulfill a longing for meaning in a chaotic world. They propose that humanity's destiny is not merely random, but intricately connected to cosmic forces or interstellar intelligence. Whether viewed as mythology, pseudoscience, or metaphor, the Anunnaki continue to inspire curiosity and imagination, bridging the distant past with the speculative future. While the ancient astronaut theory has gained popular traction, it faces intense criticism from professional archaeologists, historians, and linguistic experts. Scholars argue that proponents of the Anunnaki as aliens theory frequently employ logical fallacies, such as arguments from ignorance, assuming that because we don't fully understand a symbol or structure, it must have alien origins. A key issue raised by critics is the misuse and misinterpretation of ancient texts. Ancient Mesopotamian writings are complex, poetic, and deeply symbolic. Fringe theorists often extract isolated lines, stripping them from their cultural and religious context to fit a predetermined narrative. The Sumerian language, with its intricate structure and context-sensitive meanings, is particularly prone to misreading by non-specialists. For instance, the term Anunnaki is often equated with a technologically advanced race, yet this view is not supported by any credible translation or historical interpretation. Moreover, depictions of gods holding strange objects or wearing elaborate garments are interpreted as technological devices. Despite existing explanations rooted in Mesopotamian religious iconography, despite these criticisms, alternative theorists defend their perspectives by pointing to cross-cultural similarities, pyramids, myths of sky gods, and stories of creation by otherworldly beings across ancient civilizations. They argue that such parallels suggest a deeper truth or shared ancestral memory, perhaps pointing to a lost chapter of human history. Ultimately, this debate underscores a broader challenge in historical interpretation: the need to distinguish between mythology, metaphor, and potential hidden truths. While skepticism is essential in protecting academic integrity, open-minded exploration is also valuable in nurturing curiosity and critical thinking. The Anunnaki narrative sits at the intersection of evidence and imagination, a story both grounded in clay tablets and elevated by cosmic possibility. The story of the Anunnaki straddles the boundary between ancient belief and modern speculation. Rooted in the religious framework of Mesopotamian civilization, these deities represented elemental forces, cosmic balance, and divine authority. They featured in epics, temple rituals, and myths that helped early societies make sense of their world. Through millennia, these gods were revered not as aliens, but as sacred embodiments of nature and power, central to a worldview built on symbolism, cosmology, and the human condition. The scholarly record is clear. The Anunnaki were mythological figures, not described as spacefaring engineers or genetic manipulators. Yet in the modern era, the Anunnaki have been reimagined through the lens of ancient astronaut theory. Authors like Zecharia Sitchin offered a provocative reinterpretation, suggesting these gods were extraterrestrial visitors who shaped the course of human evolution. Though lacking credible evidence, this theory has inspired many to revisit the mysteries of ancient texts with fresh, albeit speculative, eyes. The appeal of such theories reflects a deep yearning to understand our origins. Whether driven by disillusionment with conventional narratives or a fascination with cosmic possibilities, the Anunnaki continue to fuel debate, curiosity, and imagination. In the end, the question remains: were the Anunnaki simply gods of myth, rulers enshrined in legend, or misunderstood visitors from the stars? Perhaps we will never fully know. But that uncertainty is what keeps the mystery alive. As new discoveries emerge and old texts are reinterpreted, the line between myth and possibility continues to blur, inviting each of us to draw our own conclusions about the past and what it might still reveal. The Anunnaki endure, not just as relics of ancient faith, but as symbols of our endless quest to understand who we are and where we come from.